My child, listen to me carefully. The battle you are facing right now is not proof that I have abandoned you. It is proof that I have chosen you. Many people would have walked away by now. Many would have surrendered to fear, but I did not call you to be ordinary. I called you to be a warrior. The pressure you feel, the attacks you have endured, and the tears no one knows about are not signs of weakness. They are evidence that something valuable is being formed inside you. Before this message ends, I will show you why the enemy has fought so hard against you and why giving up now would be the greatest mistake of your life. My child, listen to me carefully before you decide to give up, before you tell yourself that nothing is changing, before you allow disappointment to convince you that your prayers have been ignored. I need you to hear these words. The battle you are facing right now is not proof that I have left you. It is proof that I have chosen you. There is a reason the pressure has been so intense. There is a reason the attacks have seemed relentless. There is a reason you have felt exhausted even after giving everything you had. The enemy does not waste his energy fighting those who pose no threat. He fights those who carry purpose. He fights those who carry destiny. He fights those who are getting closer to what I have prepared for them. And my child, whether you realize it or not, you are closer than you think. I know there were nights when you sat alone with questions no one else could answer. Moments when you smiled in front of others while silently carrying burdens they could not see. Times when you wondered if all your effort was meaningless. Times when you prayed and expected an answer, but all you heard was silence. I saw every one of those moments. I saw the tears you wiped away before anyone noticed. I saw the disappointment you tried to hide. I saw the battles you never told anyone about. And I want you to understand something today. Your struggle has not escaped my attention. Not one tear. Not one prayer. Not one sleepless night. Not one moment of pain. I have seen it all. The reason you are still standing is not because the battle has been easy. It is because my hand has been holding you even when you could not feel it. Many times you believed you were carrying yourself. But it was I who gave you the strength to take one more step. I carried you through moments that should have broken you. I protected you from things you never even knew were coming. I closed doors you begged me to open because I could see dangers hidden behind them. And although you did not understand it then, one day you will thank me for every closed door, every delay, and every detour. My child, do not measure your future by your current struggle. A warrior is not created during peaceful seasons. A warrior is created in battle. Gold is tested by fire. Strength is developed through resistance. Faith grows when circumstances give you every reason to quit. That is why I am asking you not to give up now. Not when you have already come this far. Not when I have been preparing you for something greater. Not when the breakthrough is closer than it appears. There are things happening behind the scenes that you cannot yet see. Pieces are moving into place. Doors are being prepared. Answers are being arranged. Opportunities are being positioned and even. Now, while you are listening to these words, I am working in ways your eyes cannot yet recognize. Do not allow temporary pain to convince you that permanent defeat is coming. That is a lie. The battle may be difficult. The waiting may be uncomfortable. The uncertainty may feel overwhelming. But your story does not end here. I did not bring you this far to abandon you in the middle of the journey. The same God who carried you through every previous battle is carrying you through this one. Look back for a moment. Think about every situation you thought would destroy you, every season you thought you would never survive, every obstacle that seemed impossible. Yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still moving forward. That was not luck, that was my faithfulness. And if I was faithful then, I will be faithful now. My child, the enemy wants you to focus on what is missing. I want you to remember what remains. You still have purpose, you still have value, you still have a calling, you still have a future, and most importantly, you still have me. The battle is not over, but neither is your victory. So do not surrender to fear. Do not surrender to discouragement. Do not surrender to the voice that keeps telling you nothing will ever change, because I am telling you today that change is already closer than you realize. Something is developing beneath the surface. Something is growing in silence. Something is being prepared in secret. And in the next part of this message, I will reveal why the attacks against your life became stronger the moment you started moving closer to your purpose, and why the enemy fears what you are about to become. My child, I told you that the enemy fears what you are becoming. Now I want you to understand why. The enemy does not fear who you used to be. He fears who you are becoming. He fears the version of you that will rise after this battle. He fears the wisdom you are gaining through your struggles. He fears the strength being developed inside you. He fears the faith that refuses to die no matter how many storms come against it. That is why the attacks increased. That is why some battles appeared out of nowhere. That is why certain disappointments arrived just when you thought things were finally getting better. My child, there are seasons when everything seems to move against you at once. One problem appears before another one is solved. One disappointment follows another. One burden is added to another burden. And during those moments, the enemy whispers a dangerous lie. He whispers that you are losing. He whispers that nothing is changing. He whispers that your prayers have failed. But I want you to remember something. Battles often become most intense when victory is nearest. The darkness becomes desperate when it senses dawn approaching. A thief becomes desperate when he realizes he's about to lose what he stole. And the enemy becomes desperate when he realizes that the child he tried to break is about to rise stronger than before. Think about Joseph. Before the palace came the pit. Before the promotion came betrayal. Before influence came isolation. Before the dream was fulfilled, everything seemed to move in the opposite direction. His brothers rejected him. His circumstances betrayed him. His future appeared buried beneath disappointment. Yet even when Joseph could not see my plan, I was working. Every setback was preparing a setup. Every closed door was directing him toward the right door. Every painful season was developing the character required for the blessing ahead. My child, there are things I can only build inside a warrior during battle. Patience is not developed when everything happens quickly. Faith is not developed when every prayer is answered immediately. Strength is not developed when there is no resistance. Courage is not developed when there is no fear to overcome. The very things you wish would disappear are often the things being used to transform you. I know that is difficult to understand. I know there were moments when you begged me to remove the battle completely. I know there were days when your heart became tired, days when you questioned whether you could continue, days when you felt unseen. Days when you wondered if anyone understood what you were carrying, but I understood. I understood every silent cry. I understood every hidden wound. I understood every fear you never spoke aloud. And even while you were struggling, I was strengthening you. Even while you were questioning, I was preparing you. Even while you were waiting, I was working. My child, some people only see the battle. I see the warrior emerging from it. Some people only see the pressure. I see the strength being created. Some people only see the delay. I see the preparation. Some people only see the pain. I see the purpose. You must stop judging your future by your current feelings. Feelings change, circumstances change, seasons change. But my promises remain. There were moments when David looked like a shepherd, but I already saw a king. There were moments when Gideon looked weak, but I already saw a mighty warrior. There were moments when Moses looked like a fugitive hiding in the wilderness, but I already saw a deliverer. And my child, there are moments when you look at yourself and only see weakness. But I see far more than that. I see potential you have not yet discovered. I see strength you have not yet recognized. I see victories you have not yet experienced. I see doors you have not yet walked through. I see blessings you cannot yet imagine. The enemy wants you focused on today. I want you focused on what is coming, because if you could see what I see, you would understand why the battle has been so fierce. You would understand why quitting now would be a mistake. You would understand why the enemy worked so hard to convince you that you are defeated. He knows something that many of my children forget. He knows that a surrendered child of God is dangerous. He knows that a faithful warrior becomes stronger after every battle. He knows that every attack he sends can become another testimony of my faithfulness. And he fears that testimony. He fears the day you stop doubting yourself. He fears the day you finally believe what I say about you. He fears the day you realize how much authority, strength, and purpose I have placed inside you. My child, there is something else I need you to understand. The battle was never only about the obstacle in front of you. The battle was also about your identity. Because if the enemy can convince you that you are weak, you will stop fighting. If he can convince you that you are forgotten, you will stop believing. If he can convince you that your future is hopeless, you will stop moving. My child, I told you that there is a hidden reason behind your waiting season. Now I want you to understand something that many people never realize. Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. The enemy wants you to believe that because you have waited, you have been forgotten. Because the answer did not come immediately, he wants you to believe that I am silent. Because the breakthrough did not happen when you expected it, he wants you to believe that I have changed my mind about you. But my child, I have not forgotten you. I have not abandoned you. And I have certainly not changed my mind about the purpose I placed over your life. The truth is that many of my children ask me for blessings they are not yet prepared to carry. They ask for greater influence, greater responsibility, greater opportunities, greater favor. But what they do not understand is that blessings can become burdens when a person is not prepared for them. That is why preparation is necessary. That is why growth is necessary. That is why waiting sometimes becomes unavoidable. My child, imagine a building that reaches high into the sky. Most people admire the height. They admire the beauty. They admire the success, but they never see the foundation hidden beneath the ground. The taller the building, the deeper the foundation must be. And the greater the calling upon your life, the deeper the preparation must become. You have been asking why the process has taken so long, why the journey has been difficult, why the breakthrough has not arrived yet. Part of the answer is because what I am preparing for you is larger than what you currently understand. If I showed you everything now, it would overwhelm you. If I revealed the entire picture, you would not believe it. That is why I reveal my plans one step at a time, one lesson at a time, one season at a time, one battle at a time. My child, there are things I am teaching you now that will protect you later. There are lessons you are learning today that will save you from mistakes tomorrow. There is wisdom being developed in you that cannot be purchased. It can only be earned through experience. It can only be developed through trust. It can only be built through walking with me when you cannot yet see the destination. Many people want the reward. Few are willing to endure the process. Many want the crown. Few are willing to survive the battle. Many want the testimony. Few are willing to endure the trial that creates it. But you are still here. You are still moving forward. You are still listening. You are still believing, even after all the disappointments, even after all the delays, even after all the battles, and that matters more than you realize, because every time you chose faith instead of fear, you grew stronger. Every time you continued despite uncertainty, you grew stronger. Every time you trusted me without seeing immediate results, you grew stronger. The version of you that exists today is stronger than the version that began this journey. You may not see it, you may not feel it, But it is true. The battles that once would have destroyed you no longer have the same power. The fears that once controlled you no longer control you the same way. The storms that once terrified you no longer shake you as deeply. You have changed, you have grown, you have matured, and that growth is preparing you for what comes next. My child, there are moments when it feels like nothing is happening, moments when the days blend together, moments when prayers seem unanswered, moments when progress appears invisible, but invisible does not mean inactive. Think about a seed buried beneath the soil. For a long time, nothing appears to happen. From the outside, it looks lifeless. It looks forgotten. It looks abandoned. Yet beneath the surface, growth is already taking place. Roots are forming, strength is developing, life is emerging. The day eventually comes when what was hidden becomes visible. But the visible growth only happened because of the invisible preparation. And right now, much of your life is in that invisible stage. You cannot yet see everything. You cannot yet understand everything. You cannot yet explain everything. But that does not mean nothing is happening. I am working beneath the surface. I am arranging circumstances. I am opening paths. I am removing obstacles. I'm connecting people. I'm positioning opportunities. I am preparing answers, even now, even while you wait, even while you wonder, even while you question. I am working. My child, I know there have been moments when discouragement tried to settle into your heart. Moments when you watched others move ahead while you remained in the same place. Moments when comparison became a temptation. Moments when you wondered why their journey seemed easier than yours. But you must stop comparing your assignment to someone else's assignment. You are not walking their path. They are not carrying your purpose. They are not preparing for your calling, and you are not preparing for theirs. Every assignment has its own timing. Every purpose has its own process. Every destiny has its own preparation. Trust my timing, even when you do not understand it. Trust my plan, even when you cannot see it. Trust my hand, even when circumstances seem confusing, because my delays are not my denials. What I promise, I complete. What I begin, I finish. What I speak, I fulfill. My child, the enemy has spent a long time trying to convince you that your waiting season is evidence of failure. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Your waiting season is evidence that preparation is still taking place, and preparation always comes before promotion. Growth always comes before increase. Character always comes before influence. The foundation always comes before the building. That is why you must not become discouraged now. You have come too far. You have survived too much. You have overcome too many battles to quit at this stage. The enemy would love for you to walk away now. He would love for you to surrender now. He would love for you to stop believing now, because he knows something is approaching, something that he cannot stop, something that he cannot prevent, something that has already been set into motion. And my child, what is coming is not simply another blessing. It is a season of confirmation, a season where things that once seemed impossible begin to make sense, a season where prayers that felt forgotten begin to receive answers, a season where closed doors finally reveal why they were closed, a season where your faithfulness during the battle begins to produce visible results. But before that season arrives, there is one final lesson I need you to understand. Because the greatest battle was never around you. It has always been within you. And in the next part of this message, I will reveal the hidden battle between faith and fear that determines whether a warrior reaches their destiny or walks away from it just before the breakthrough arrives. My child, I told you that many people turn back only inches before their breakthrough. Now I want you to understand why, because the final stage of waiting is often the most difficult stage of all. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening beneath the surface. And when the answer is closest, the battle often becomes the strongest. The enemy knows something that many people do not. He knows he cannot stop what I have already ordained. He knows he cannot cancel what I have already spoken. He knows he cannot destroy the purpose I have placed over your life. So instead, he tries one final strategy. He tries to exhaust you. He tries to wear down your faith. He tries to convince you that the waiting has been pointless. He tries to make you quit one step before the miracle appears. My child, have you ever noticed how darkness seems deepest just before sunrise? Have you ever noticed how the night feels longest just before morning arrives? That is because transition often feels uncomfortable. The old season is ending. The new season is approaching, and in between those two moments, there is often confusion, there is uncertainty, there is tension, but there is also movement, invisible movement, divine movement, the kind of movement you cannot yet see with your eyes. My child, some of the prayers you think I ignored are actually being answered right now. Some of the doors you think remain closed are already beginning to unlock. Some of the opportunities you believe are lost are quietly being restored. You do not see it yet, but I do. I see the conversations taking place behind the scenes. I see the people being positioned. I see the opportunities being arranged. I see the protection being provided. I see the path being cleared, and I need you to trust me a little longer. Not forever, just a little longer, because there is something I need you to hear. Your greatest breakthrough is not the blessing itself. Your greatest breakthrough is the person you have become while waiting for it. Years ago, certain battles would have broken you. Certain disappointments would have crushed you. Certain betrayals would have destroyed your confidence. But look at you now. You are still standing, still believing, still hoping, still moving forward. And even though you feel tired, you are stronger than you realize. My child, I have watched every tear, every sleepless night, every prayer whispered into the darkness, every moment when you felt alone, every moment when you questioned whether anyone understood your pain. I was there. I was there when nobody called. I was there when nobody noticed. I was there when your heart felt heavy. I was there when you smiled in front of others while secretly carrying burdens they knew nothing about. I saw everything, and not one moment escaped my attention. Not one. You may feel forgotten by people, but you have never been forgotten by me. You may feel overlooked by the world, but you have never been overlooked by heaven. You may feel unseen, but my eyes have never left you. My child, there are some of you listening right now who have almost given up, not because you stopped believing in me, but because you are moving toward it. Every day, every lesson, every battle, every season, every act of obedience, every moment of faith. You are getting closer, closer than yesterday, closer than last month, closer than last year, and the enemy knows it. That is why the pressure has increased. That is why discouragement has intensified. That is why doubt has tried to return, because resistance often increases when purpose is near. The enemy attacks hardest when he senses he is losing ground. But my child, this is not the time to retreat. This is the time to stand. This is the time to trust. This is the time to remember everything I have taught you during this journey. Because soon, very soon, there will come a moment when you look back at this season and understand what you cannot understand today. You will see why certain doors had to close. You will see why certain people had to leave. You will see why certain delays were necessary. You will see why certain prayers required time. And when that moment comes, you will realize that I was never withholding good from you. I was preparing the right thing for the right time. My child, your story is not ending in disappointment. Your story is not ending in defeat. Your story is not ending in failure. The pages that remain unwritten contain more hope than the pages you have already lived. But before the breakthrough becomes visible, before the answers fully arrive, before the next chapter begins, There is one final truth you must understand, a truth so powerful that once you grasp it, fear will lose much of its hold over your life. My child, I told you there is one final truth you must understand, a truth that faithful warriors eventually discover, a truth that separates those who remain trapped from those who step into the life they were created to live. And here it is. The greatest breakthrough does not happen when circumstances change. The greatest breakthrough happens when you change. Many people spend years waiting for their situation to improve, waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for all the obstacles to disappear. But they never realize that the transformation I desire most is not around them. It is within them. Because when you become the person I have called you to be, doors begin to open that could never open before. When your faith grows stronger than your fear, everything changes. When your trust becomes greater than your doubts, everything changes. When your obedience becomes stronger than your excuses, everything changes. My child, the secret was never about becoming perfect. It was about becoming willing to trust me, willing to follow me, willing to keep moving, even when you could not see the entire road ahead. And you have done that. Not perfectly, but faithfully. You kept walking, you kept praying, you kept believing. Even when there were days you wanted to quit. Even when there were nights you cried in silence. Even when nobody understood the battle taking place inside your heart. You continued. And that matters more than you know, because every step you took in faith became part of your preparation. Every act of obedience became part of your testimony. Every difficult season became part of your story. My child, one day you will look back and realize that the waiting season was never wasted. You will see how every delay protected you, how every closed door redirected you, how every disappointment taught you something valuable, how every battle made you stronger. You will see connections you cannot currently see. You will understand answers you do not currently understand. And when that day arrives, you will finally realize that I was working the entire time, even when you felt alone, even when you felt forgotten, even when you felt confused. I was there. I never left, not for a single moment. My child, there are people listening to this message right now who feel exhausted. People who have carried burdens for far too long. People who have fought battles that nobody else knows about. People who are wondering whether they have enough strength to keep going. And today, I want to speak directly to them. Yes, the road has been difficult. Yes, the journey has been painful. Yes, there were moments when you almost gave up. But look how far you have come. You survived things you once believed would destroy you. You overcame storms you never thought you could endure. You made it through seasons that seemed impossible. And if I brought you through all of that, do you really believe I will abandon you now? No, my child, I did not bring you this far to leave you here. I did not prepare you for all these years simply to watch you fail. I did not carry you through the valley so you could stop at the edge of your promise. There is still purpose ahead of you. There is still hope ahead of you. There is still life ahead of you. There is still joy ahead of you. Your story is not defined by your worst chapter. Your future is not limited by your past mistakes. Your destiny is not determined by your current circumstances. I'm greater than your failures, greater than your fears, greater than your disappointments, greater than every obstacle standing in front of you. And my child, as this message comes to an end, I want you to remember something whenever doubt tries to return, whenever fear tries to speak, whenever discouragement tries to settle into your heart. Remember this: the waiting was not punishment. The waiting was preparation. The delay was not rejection. The delay was protection. The battle was not proof that I abandoned you. The battle was proof that I was strengthening you. And the tears were not wasted. The prayers were not ignored. The journey was not meaningless. Every step mattered. Every lesson mattered. Every moment mattered, because all of it was shaping the person you are becoming. So lift your head, take another step. Trust me one more time, believe one more time, because your story is still being written, and the author has never lost control of the pen. I am with you. I have always been with you, and I will remain with you until every promise I have spoken over your life is fulfilled. Now go forward with faith, go forward with courage, go forward with confidence, and never forget this truth. The same God who carried you through yesterday is already waiting in your tomorrow, and he has not failed you yet. Amen.